Hi everyone, this is APO Sports, and it's been a while. It's been a long time. Damn, I don't even remember the last time. Look at me, look at this huge beard. What we've got going on. Um, but anyways, exciting times are here. The season is about to start. What, next month? We really don't have that much time left between now and the beginning of the season, so let's get our player spotlight situation going. Today, as promised, we're going to be talking about Natasha Howard. So that's going to be our first player spotlight going on here on the channel for this season. Of course, Natasha Howard, she signed as a free agent with the Indiana Fever, coming to us from the Dallas Wings, a team that struggled quite a bit last year. But what we're gonna do now is pretty much just go over a little bit of background, which actually Howard doesn't have that much. There's not a lot of information, just in the same way that there was a lot of information before when we did when we did Nelissa Smith and when we did the other player spotlights like Maris Stentas and such. So there's a little bit less as far as background is concerned, but we're still going to touch over a few things. So just a little bit of background on Natasha Howard. She is from Toledo, Ohio. 33 years old. She went to college in Florida State. Now, her time at college at Florida State, she started okay, and then she improved dramatically. She became a really good player for Florida State. Um, so her first season, so freshman year, she averaged 10 points per game, almost 10.6. So you can round that up to 11 points per game. Then her sophomore year improved a little bit to 12 points per game. Not too much of a leap between the between sophomore year and junior year. Junior year was about 12.7 points per game in college. And but then the senior year we see huge improvements. From junior to senior, she pretty much just took off, right? So maybe during her time at Florida State, she wasn't immediately coveted because she was doing okay, but she wasn't like um, drawing a lot of attention. But then her senior year, I'm guessing that's what, no kidding, got her drafted as high as she did, because then she averaged 20.5 points per game in that season, and along with a 65% shooting from the field and 9.3 rebounds per game, along with 2 steals per game. So I mean, those were really, really solid numbers. The only thing that I'll say about her college career is that she didn't really do, or well, Florida State, I'm not gonna say it was her, you know, only responsible for this, but Florida State, they did not do that well or too much of an impact in the NCAA tournament. So pretty much the entire time uh that for her junior year and senior year, they only went to the second round and then were eliminated in the second round. So not too much of a splash there as far as the NCAA tournament. But her season, her senior year was outstanding. And all of that I mentioned, 20 points, not a lot of assists. She's not like a passer per se. Her job is to score in and around the paint, mid range, rebound, defend, right? Oh, and I didn't mention she also had 2.3 blocks per game in college. So she's a defender, she is a slasher, she is a scorer in and around the paint, meaning that she's not going to be outside trying to shoot the three. But she can shoot the three. Not at a high percentage, but she can shoot the three. So now what we need to do, and here's where I'm going to share the screen as well with all of you, but here's where I want to get into basketball reference, and let's really get into the numbers since she got drafted into the WNBA. So she was drafted in 2014, first round, fifth overall pick by the Indiana Fever. So as we all know, she's going back to where it all started. So let's look at her numbers. Okay, so here's just a quick snapshot at her career numbers. right? So first 2 years, she was Indiana Fever, as we said. She did not play that much for the Fever. So her first year, 2014, which was the year that who was coaching this team? Lynn Dunn. So Lynn Dunn, her last year as coach, right? They were 16 and 18, not that good season. She played about. So again, if we go back here, she played about 17 minutes per game. Started 15 games as well. But then 2015, this is when Stephanie White coached it. This is when Stephanie White coached the team, and and she barely played here, right? So there were 20 and 14. They improved a little bit, but Howard only played about 11.4 minutes per game, or that's what she played was 11.4 minutes per game. Not too much of an impact, really, in any way that you can slice it. She, I guess, still second year, she wasn't really trusted too much, with being on the floor too much. She only started 2 games. So that was her tenure with the Fever, 2014 to 2015, wasn't that impactful. But she was traded to Minnesota. And then when she was traded to Minnesota, so we have to really talk about some of these things, right? Because Minnesota, so they lost the finals here, but they won the finals in 2017, where Natasha Howard was still in the team. And what I really want to do, as you all know, I'm a playoffs guy. So in the playoffs, what was really her impact? So she didn't really have that much of an impact in 2017 when the Minnesota Lynx won the title. Okay, so she gets traded to Minnesota. They go to the playoffs in 2016, but really they win it all in 2017. But I mean, this is the team that had Maya Moore, right? This is the team that was, Temi was here too. I hadn't even seen that, but Temi Fack Bentley was here as well. But if we look at the playoffs, right, she only played about 5 minutes per game. I mean, Natasha Howard. So she wasn't really impactful during this playoff run for the Minnesota Lynx. Who coached this team? Gerald Reeve. Yep. So they won NBA, and WNBA finals, but Natasha Howard was not. I mean, we can give credit, of course. She's part of a championship team. That's super important as you gain experience, as you just around winners. So that is good, right? But can we give credit to Natasha Howard for the 2017 WNBA title? I don't know. I'm hesitant to do that. She was part of the team, but 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 hang on, right? Okay, I'm not gonna give her too much credit for that one, but let's talk about Seattle, because I think something crazy, something magical happened when she was. I don't know if she was traded or if she signed with Seattle. I really don't know what happened, but something incredible happened. And it says here that she was most improved player. So in 2018, when she went to Seattle, she was the most improved player of the year. That's important. So let's look at that. 2018 won the WNBA finals by sweeping the Washington Mystics. And now you're gonna ask me, okay, APO, great. 2017, we saw that the Minnesota Lynx won the WNBA title, and Natasha Howard averaged 5 minutes per game in the playoffs. She really didn't have much of an impact. You don't want to give her any credit. All these different things, right? Yes, yes, yeah. I'm gonna say yes to all of that. Just 1 year later, it's about 2018. This is what, 7 years removed. The impact, and this is the crazy thing too that I want to talk about, because if you were to look at Natasha Howard's career from now, or to discredit her or to dismiss her, 2014 up to now, she's been like an insignificant bench player, role player, not even a role player. She didn't even have a role. She's just in the back of the bench. 2 years in the Fever, not that impactful. 2 years with the Lynx, not that impactful, right? She's just coming off the bench, not doing much. And just for a player, just maybe an organization to trust them, or maybe being surrounded in the right circumstances, I don't know what happened, but let's look at her impact in the 2018 Seattle Storm in the playoffs. We really need to focus on the impact that Natasha Howard had in the playoffs specifically. And let's check it out. All right. So the per games, sure, we can look at the per games, but I mean, the per games are still amazing, right? Just the per games. And the playoffs, look at these per games. Per games in the playoffs, right? 2018, all of a sudden, Natasha Howard is averaging 31 minutes, 31 and a half minutes per game, and she's scoring 15.8 points per game, which means her per 36 numbers are even better than that, right? So we look at this and we look at this. We're talking about per 36 minutes, she's averaging 18 points per game, completely destroying everything, right? We look at per 100 possessions in the playoffs. Again, she's just right below Brianna Stewart as far as, points per game we're talking. And this is just, I thought maybe we had a plus minus here, but maybe we have them over here. So advanced. Again, I don't care about the regular season. Regular season is cool, but how good are you come playoff time, come go time, right? This is crazy. So offensive rating and defensive rating, right? So 119, which is still pretty high when you're on the court. And defensive rating, she was the best defensive player for the Seattle Storm in that playoff run. 104. I mean, this differential alone is insane. Now, yes, we can say that the differential from Clark, Alicia Clark, was insane, right? We're talking about a plus 26, but this is pretty damn good as well. And then if we look at offensive win shares, I mean, just win shares overall, it's between Stewart and Natasha Howard. Like the impact, just the crazy impact from one year to the next is just insane. And then if we look at win shares per 40 minutes, I mean, she was. This is in a championship. It's just for a championship team. This is just insane. Even if we look at the player efficiency rating, I mean, she had an all-time what it appears here. Because if you're saying that Stewart had a tremendous series or a tremendous playoffs or had an all-time playoff performance, then you have to say the same thing about Natasha Howard in 2018 as far as her impact for that title for the Seattle Storm, right? So we're not even talking. So we went from last year where she won the title with the Lynx in 2000. I mean, I say last year, but 2017 she won the title with the Lynx, not even being a role player, right? And then the next year, winning the title with the Seattle Storm, being a catalyst. You know what I mean? I mean, it's just crazy. It's just crazy to see. And the on court, I mean, on and off court, right? So when she's on the court, when Natasha Howard was on the court, she was the best player, right? She had the best plus minus per 100 possessions. And this is during the regular season. During the playoffs, not so much, but still, like plus minus net per 100 possessions, she's right there with Alicia Clark. So, um, let's see. Turnovers, that's not that many. 5, 6 loose balls. This is not bad at all. There's only, yeah. I mean, this is insane to really look at and really consider. So I mean, this is amazing. So that's 2018. Let's go to the next season because I believe they won the title the next season as well. Oh no, they when did she win? I thought she won 3 times. It said 3 time. But let's look at her. It was 2 games, so I mean we can look at it, but 2 games it's hard to gauge. This is back when the WNBA only have super short playoffs. Oh, okay. So they were missing a huge piece in Brianna Stewart. But I mean, Brianna Stewart goes down, and Natasha Howard now kind of, inherits the the face of the franchise while Brianna Stewart is out, right? For 36 minutes, she was the leading scorer. Um, win share, she was by far the best one. Rating, you can't blame her for not winning because when she was on the floor, she had a +8 net rating. So, oh wait, this is regular season. Playoffs. Yeah, still, when she was on the court, they were +5. So this is not on her. Yeah, this was regular. So in the regular season, she again, it seems like Brianna Stewart was either injured or out for whatever reason. I don't know the circumstances as to why Brianna Stewart was out, but again, she was the person. So that's incredible. That's the year we were just talking about, right? So she wins the title 2017, but not that. So again, she wins the title in 2017, but not that big of a role. And then she wins the title in 2018 with a huge role, winning, being defense. What is this? All defensive first team, and then winning the most improved player of the year. She was sixth as defensive player of the year. And then the next year, with Brianna Stewart out, she's fifth in MVP voting, which is crazy. She was WNBA, all WNBA first team in 2019. She was also all defensive, of course, first team because she was an all star and she was defensive player of the year as well. So 2019, while they were short of the mark as far as winning the WNBA title, especially because Brianna Stewart was out. But that's a year like her best year in the WNBA as she was doing it all, right? She was the scoring leader, she was defending, she was, their all-star, she was everything. And even then, even as she was fifth in MVP, she was still getting some love for most improved player. Again, just because of the dramatic shift between 2018 and 2019 and the big improvement from one year to the next. So then I wonder what happened in 2020 over here. Yeah, so they win the title again in 2020, but Howard, she didn't play that many minutes for whatever reason, and only averaged 9.5 points per game. In the playoffs, per 36 minutes in the playoffs, she was okay. She was 14.5, so it wasn't too bad. But again, not the same impact that she had back in 2018. Per 100 possessions in the playoffs. She was 21 points per 100 possessions. And then here in the playoffs, 109 and 96. So again, she's still making a huge impact. It's just that her role was diminished just a little bit. It seems like some players were back, and now they had Jewel Lloyd, and they had Brianna Stewart, and they had Sue Bird. So maybe uh, her role went down just a little bit, but still, overall, still impactful, still a really important role player in yet another championship team. So again, that was 3 WNBA championships in 4 years. So that's crazy, right? One in 2017, one in 2018, and one in 2020, and with two different franchises. So just the exposure to be, like I said, around winning teams, making winning plays, knowing what it takes to win, it's just incredible. So an addition like that to a team like the Indiana Fever, who's up and coming and trying to do these type of things, is it's just great to have overall. So I'm super excited for her. Um, we can go into the next seasons, but I mean, I think she changed teams again. Yep. So after that, she went to the Liberty, and the Liberty just weren't that good. At this time, well, they went to the playoffs, I guess. But how did she do in 2021? Let's see. She was second. She was second in scoring. This is even when a team that had Sabrina, but I think this was Sabrina's rookie year. Let me see. When did she first? Oh no, 2020. She didn't play. Yeah, she got injured in 2020. So 2021, pretty much. Yeah, her rookie year. Um, Sabrina really, I don't know, maybe coming back from injury or something, but she wasn't Sabrina yet. Um, and then playoffs. Yep, Howard was still, even though that was just the one game, yeah. Just the one game to losing to the Mercury, but still in that one game scored 16 points. Okay. 43% from the field. Got it. Next year, Natasha Howard was still here. Yep, Natasha Howard's still here. Her 8th year in the league. She's second in scoring behind Sabrina. So that's another thing too to kind of consider is the fact that she's played with a similar player like Kaylin Clark in Sabrina. So she kind of understands also how to play with a player like that. So, but Sabrina was already coming to her own here, and yeah, she was the second in scoring. They didn't do much. What did they do? Did they make it to the playoffs? Yeah, but lost in the first round, 2-1 to Chicago Sky. How did she do in the playoffs? Yeah, I mean, she was actually leading scorer above Sabrina, so still doing really well. Doing really well. So I mean, she's just a playoff performer, right? That's just what she is. For 100 possessions, rating. Well, her offensive rating wasn't that good, but defensive rating still really, really good. Probably the best the best in the team. Um, but offensive rating, it seems like everybody was struggling except these two players. But not bad. So now let's see, where did she go from here? Okay. And then after that, she goes to Dallas, and well, for whatever reason, Dallas they lost in the semifinals in the playoffs. So let's see. And this is what 2023. So in 2023, the Wings, Dallas Wings, go to the playoffs again, losing the semifinals to the eventual champs, the Aces. Here we see her performance with the Wings, 2023 regular season, right? And she's right there with their big guns, right? So you have Enrique, 21.2 points per game. This is during the regular season. Satu, 18.6 points per game. And Natasha Howard is pretty much right there. And then playoffs, let's look at the playoffs. Um, yeah, I mean, she diminished. She went down in scoring just a little bit, 12 points per game. So in the playoffs, okay, regular season per 36 minutes, sessions, advanced. Yeah, she went down just a little bit offensive rating, but again, she continues to be their defense best player on the defense, almost best player defensively. So she's still pretty good, still pretty good. And I mean, per 100 possessions, so she played a lot less, I think, than Enrique, which is why brings her number. But she's comparable to those. And this is the regular season, and then playoffs per 100 possession, she went down a little bit, but still significant. And this is what 2023. Now 2024 was last year. Team was really really bad. 9-31. That's not a good team, but she's still up there, right? So she was still averaging 17.6 points per game, so that's really good. Uh, Having a great impact still. No playoffs performance here, of course, but you know she plays a lot. She seems like she's durable. She plays mostly every game. Here she played 27 games, started 26. Um, just fantastic. So I mean, the Fever really are getting an amazing player. And historically, just looking at the performances. So just looking at the performances, looking at playoff performance, which is what really it's going to matter for the Fever coming up. She's not someone like, if you see a lot of these in a lot of these rosters, she's had to be the second, or third best player on the floor in order for them to be successful in any way, right? So for the Wings, she was the third best player. For the Liberty, she was the second best player. For the Seattle Storm during those championship runs, at least the first championship run, she was the second best player right behind Stewart. The other one, it seems like Seattle just then got what 2000 the championship in 2020, Seattle just had, they just had too much at that point. Um, but in the Fever, where does she rank really as far as the best players right now? Because you have Clark is number one, Boston number two, Mitchell number three, and then Bonner. So maybe Howard is the fifth best player on the Fever right now. So I mean, it's gonna be a comfortable role for her, I think. You know what I mean? Just to be able to wreak havoc on the defensive end, to get all the rebounds, to score in and around the paint, which is great because Caitlin Clark is just gonna have so many options for people to score, right? So people around her, she's gonna have sharpshooters everywhere. She's gonna have people like Boston and Howard that can just finish around the rim, and not just them too, but Kelsey Mitchell with her speed and ability to get down the floor and to the paint. It's just going to be great to have. So I mean, really, the Fever have done an amazing job with constructing this team and really paying attention to the pieces necessary to be successful. So I'm excited for this. So this is just the player spotlight for Natasha Howard as far as her performances in college and in the WNBA so far, and just looking at her numbers, her trajectory. So impressive to see that she just stayed the course as far as, not having the best first 4 years in the WNBA, but not getting discouraged. And that's also such an amazing example for some of the other players that the Fever have. Like, one example I think is Lexi Hall, right? Because her first 4 years, I think, in the WNBA have been a little bit similar to what Natasha Howard experienced. A little bit different in that, in the fourth season went to the playoffs and all these different things. Um, but what an amazing person to kind of guide Lexi Hall to take her to the next level. Like, hey, don't give up. You can still have an amazing career. You can still have an amazing impact, because she did it, right? And it was immediate, right? Or we saw 4 years of irrelevance. Fifth year, she is the catalyst on a WNBA championship team. So that's just how quickly things changed for Natasha Howard. And after that, she was one of the best players in the league. So, yeah, but let me know what you think about Natasha Howard. Level of excitement. What kind of impact do you think she's gonna have for this team? But that's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.